welcome in, Purple.
Thank you, Jim and Bill. And
Hello,
Reggie.
Damien.
Well, a complete opposite to this time last year. My memory of this time last year was we had 3 unbelievable finals and 1 pretty ordinary one.
Yep.
This year, we've had 3 very ordinary ones and 1 unbelievable one.
And such shit, you called the 3 bad
I
ones.
did all 3.
Damien.
Can I say that?
What's going on?
That's fair enough.
I don't even dropped
I
that
can't
word on
argue.
this station. Sorry about that.
Why is everyone saying that word?
I can't
all of a
argue with
sudden?
you.
Yeah.
You
No, it was
sounded like
it was underwhelming.
Triple M Jim then, swearing on radio.
Sorry, I don't think I've ever sworn on radio, so sorry about that.
No, I can only wear that because it's true.
Yeah.
News?
All 3 of the rubbish ones I copped.
Well, they're not rubbish for the sides that win.
No, that's
and
the
the supporters.
That's also
about.
true.
That's the
We'll
game.
deal with the winners soon, Jim,
Yes.
in the positives. But this has been the best part of 9, maybe even 15 months in the making. Bailey Smith officially telling the Western Bulldogs today he wants out, and just giving the reasons for all of that. He will be, Bill, expecting to go to the Geelong Football Club. Now, he hasn't
Really?
made that part of it public yet, and that's because, I believe, the Cats are still well and truly alive and up to their eyeballs in a premiership to be won this year. No distractions needed for the Cats.
Righto. What
Yeah.
would the Cats have to give up?
Well, their first pick in the draft will be a starting point for it. It won't be enough in the eyes of the Western
No, I wouldn't have
Bulldogs.
thought
So
And
they'll be
that-
hoping that's 21 or something.
well, it's already about 15, 16, given where they are going to finish top 4, or potentially. And should they go all the way through it, with the father-sons, the academy kids, the way that the national draft is compromised, it could be, early mid-20s even, the way it goes, so or thereabouts. So that will be the starting point. He's out of contract. There's no free agency attached to this one, so that will be a negotiation that plays out. As we talk today, we still don't know what will happen to Jason McCartney, who is a GWS Giants football manager.
Yep.
Got himself involved in a fracas with Tom Hapley at quarter time at the SCG
What about
on
Pinky?
Saturday.
He shouldn't have been anywhere
No, he
near
shouldn't
there.
What about Paps? Doesn't he love it?
loves it.
Doesn't he love it?
He does. I'm really keen to see what the AFL releases on this. In 2021, we know that Jason McCartney went into the umpires area, Jim, of a game at halftime at Manuka and questioned why there were so few free kicks at that stage of a particular game paid against or paid for the Giants. He has found himself clearly before once in a situation like this. So there is a prior attached to it. He got $20,000, or the club got $20,000 last time. I expect there to be a fine and a very strong statement at the very least to be accompanying that outcome.
What else you got there?
You touched on the Melbourne Review, Bill.
I did. Oh, no. Well, I didn't. Max Gawn did on the breakfast show this morning, saying, bring it on.
Yeah, I like the way Maxie does approach that. And Jim, you've always been big on that. I remember when you were in charge of the North Melbourne Footy Club, you just said it's a given.
It's got to be a standard practice.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you get better if you don't review?
No.
You've got to do it.
So the Demons are bringing outside consultants into it.
Where's he from? The All Blacks?
He's from the All Blacks, yeah.
Yeah.
which is celebrated internationally, aren't they, as benchmark. And now they're...
Oh, no.
Oh, Rabs, there's no need for that.
Ramsey, you're better than that.
Come
yeah.
on, Ramsey.
You should be shearing that sheep.
You're a bit sheepish now. I bet you won't play it again.
And Christian Petrarca, as we knew 2 Saturdays ago, has certainly committed for 2025. And it's no surprise in my eyes that these undertakings that were arrived at privately, Jim, are now starting to play out publicly.
Yep.
Kate Roffey standing down, this review being commissioned. I think there's a major amount of pressure now on Gary Pert for what that looks like. And as we touched on the Saturday Rub Bill,
Yes.
Stephen Smith, former MCC chair, believed to be going overseas next year, but I feel when he does return,
He'll take over from
that's
Brad Green.
what a lot of people now highly connected with that football club do hope to have happen.
Hey, Track's back on track too, by the way.
Yep.
I'm hearing that he's all good.
You're
He's,
hearing-
Why are you
yeah.
hearing that?
How are you hearing that?
I'm just hearing it, and he's right
Did you
to go.
hear it with your own ears?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to point to your ears. It's radio. We know what they
My
are.
bucking ears.
Yeah.
Guess where they are? Where are they?
On your bucking head.
Oh,
Not I-N-G, E-N.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
So, but he's all good.
Yep.
He's back with the
He's back.
side he
Yep.
loves, with all his teammates.
And the
all
brand's back. He was posting photos
all
with
system-
Melbourne
yes.
people at a
Exactly.
AFLW
Good
game.
on
The
him.
brand's back and running. Bill.
Good on
It's all
you,
good,
Track.
good.
Good on you.
Yep.
And had a very ordinary rub by here, too.
No.
No, it's actually
No.
pretty good, Jim.
Actually, it was good, Jay-Z.
Like the Caesar just...
No, Jay-Z.
nah.
You know what? He
It was a
gave
long
us
opener, though, wasn't it?
too long. Too long. But he gave us a chance to speak, and he really did.
Which
Jim
is
does
not
it.
a good idea with you.
So, and I brought this up on Saturday, the goal of the year, because we saw Jeremy Cameron that you so beautifully called. by
Bill
the way,
thinks
Jim.
he's got this idea
Well,
himself.
now we can throw in Mark of the Year,
Yeah.
because I reckon that's Mark of the Year.
I do too,
And I
Bill.
reckon Jez's isn't far behind. But no, you can't have that. It's closed off after the home and away season. We can't do that.
Well, that's
We've
the
missed.
rules.
No, but we can change the rules.
Yeah, change the rules.
So it's mark of the year
Right.
or mark and goal of the home and away season.
Well,
It's just that.
That's it.
Did Bobby Hill take potentially one of the marks of the year last year in the grand final itself, and also Zach Bailey kicking what I felt was goal of the year too in the grand final
But
itself?
it's just been highlighted over the weekend.
It
So
has.
it's just a funny old...
The win is announced on Brownlow night, though, which is still before the grand final.
We can.
And Bill has never had an original thought in his life. So
No.
someone else has said that.
No.
Yeah, and Fats
Cool.
latched on.
What
to it.
about the mosquito fleet? That's my other thought. This is mine.
This might be his actually.
Yeah,
he did
it
come
does-
in with
I do-
content on
yes,
Saturday, and he thinks he's
exactly.
onto something with
this
the
is
Geelong
the-
Well,
small
remember
forwards.
the great Carlton mosquito
Yes,
fleet,
I do.
right?
Yes.
So we go back to Kenny Shelton, Rod Ashman,
Vinny
Alex
Catoggio.
Marcoux, Jimmy Buckley, Vinny Catoggio, Wayne Johnson.
Yes, the Dom.
Well, the sides that are going well at the minute have got the mosquito fleet. When you look at the Cats, Stengel, Close, Myers, Manna, and Hawthorn, of course. So you've got to have good forwards. And guess who hasn't
Those
got?
blokes for Carlton were more mids than forwards.
No, they were
Dom
called.
was centreman.
They were called the mosquito
Ashman
fleet.
was,
We're just
on
pinch-
ball.
I'm pinching the term.
Right, okay.
And guess which sides didn't have good small forwards?
The ones that got bundled out.
Oh, thank you, Damien. I rest my
Cody
case.
Waitman's a very
Waitman.
good small forward.
No, he didn't do much on the weekend.
Cody
that's what I'm
Waitman was
saying.
not good on the weekend. Positives? You
Yes,
want to start there?
positives.
Yeah, the Swans were the big winner. That was the one game to which you
Yes.
referred, Jim, off the top. That was the exciting game, and it was an epic, wasn't it? The way the Giants did everything but win the game
Yep.
of footy. They were 5 goals up or 28 points up on 2 separate occasions. Were regularly in the low 20s, and then. Isaiah Kearney, Chad Warner in the last quarter particularly. Jake Lloyd had one of his great games. And I know he's a 2-time best and fairest winner at that footy club, but I would argue that might have been his best
Best game. I tell you, I was listening to this, and the Duke. The
Did a
last,
magnificent
I
job
reckon 2
late
minutes.
in that game. Yep,
He
he
just,
did.
Marty's goal in that.
No,
well
superb.
done, Duke. He called
He
the
called the
pants
spots off it.
He
I
did.
agree with that. He
Yeah.
was magnificent.
He was.
The other thing, Purple, with that game, but there was a few others as well, you cannot miss in finals.
Yeah.
The Giants in that first quarter
Ooh.
missed 3 sodas.
Yeah, they did.
You kick all of them,
Toby
the game's
Green was
pretty
a
much
culprit.
done. Yeah,
Yep.
20 metres out.
What's going on with Toby?
I don't understand.
He can't kick it. He
How
can't
do you
fight
miss?
it. Yeah.
But anyway, you kick all of them, you don't have any problems. You
Yeah.
just win the game.
And Isaac, how good. Good looking, good mover,
As
good
I said,
footballer.
reminds me of myself. Good looking and tough. Purple, are we going the other way? Or you
We-
got more
no, there's
positives?
more positives.
He's
Right,
got
more
plenty.
positives.
I
Here we
like
go.
it.
We discussed this,
Positive.
Bill, or you and I did on the Saturday
Yes.
rub. That,
Good show.
just for the Monday audience, the Geelong performance was brilliant.
yeah.
Way back on Thursday night. Sets up their season, obviously, all the way through now to a preliminary final. And just the work of Paddy Dangerfield at
Yep.
34 years of age. Obviously, Maxie Holmes, he
Max
got
Holmes,
the 10
10
votes
votes.
maximum from the coaches.
Sean Manor.
Yeah, he was great, wasn't he?
He's just a player that's been in the system for 8 years, knows how to play footy.
Yep.
How was Danger that far down in those votes, by the way?
Yeah, I was surprised.
got 3.
Yeah.
If he wasn't the best player for them, he was certainly their second best.
I thought so too. Yeah, and that second quarter, when the game was set up, I thought some of the explosiveness with which he
He's
displayed.
important, isn't he?
There was a brutality
assists
about that
and-
performance, wasn't there? Which I know he's done for basically 15 years.
There's
But
no harder player going at the ball, nearly.
yeah, I would
Is
agree,
it?
Bill. Yeah, and I reckon that particular quarter may have been the peak.
What about Max
power.
Holmes when he took kicked
Yeah.
out from fullback, had 3 bounces?
Yep.
The bloke's there.
Yeah,
And he just runs
and he got to the
up.
wing.
Yeah,
He got to the wing.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, Brisbane Lions. You touched on them from the nastiness of the Carlton loss, but
yuck.
to get to 60 points, 9 goals, 60, and have the opposition. It doesn't matter how
no.
low you are as a team, whether it was West Coast, Brisbane, North Melbourne, Richmond this year.
Yep.
It was a final, and
yeah.
they had the opponent at 0. It was close to perfection
It was.
when it's all said and done. Now, they had a few nervous moments after that. It got down to 31 points when Carlton finally got
Woke
its act
up.
together, and they will have some, I think, at backs of mind problems with how they missed some goals that they should have kicked in those more tense moments than they had been. But ultimately, all you can do is destroy the opponent like they did
Yep.
in the first half. So well done to them. And
Bad selection
yeah, it was from the Carlton
from
side, wasn't
Carlton.
it? Yeah.
No doubt.
Yep, and then again, enough. I just cannot get enough of the Hawthorn Football Club story with how, again, I don't know who was best on ground. The coaches gave it to Newcomb. I thought that was the right call, but equally, Cal Shadir's performance
Yeah,
as
how
a,
good.
as a
Yes.
first-year player, Nick Watson stepping up in the
Yep.
big stage.
Meek.
Meek was unbelievably
He's
good.
nearly their most important player, Meek.
Yeah, he might.
He is.
Well, yeah, he might be, Bill. And if he's not, maybe James Sicily still is.
Sicily's magnificent.
And he's going to have to play an even bigger role now that Sam Frost is out for the remainder of the series with a really bad foot problem that was sustained in the last 4 minutes of the game on
So
on
what
Friday
did Port
night.
do? Charlie Dixon, I don't know how much of it he had. It would have only been one or two.
Two kicks, I think.
So Marshall's got to come in, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Marshall hasn't been playing well either
No.
this year,
Well,
and
I
he
know,
has
but-
been sore himself.
But he's going to be better, surely.
They
Well,
got Lord. They could maybe bring him in. They've got to bring someone in who's going to bring the ball to ground,
you'd think so.
especially against Sicily.
In Dixon's defence, and I'm a massive fan of Mitch Georgiades, but he missed him by 10 metres on two separate occasions where he had made the break on the opponent and would have been having shots at goal. It may not have been enough to keep him in the team even if he got them, but the kicks missed by a long way, and that was indicative of what Port was about. So what they do now, I've still got the view that the losing qualifying finalist, we immediately rule them out, don't we,
we
in our
we
minds.
talked about
And
that.
we get close to the game, and they've got a game of footy against Hawthorn on Friday. I feel it's going to be closer than,
Oh, I do too.
than people feel.
Just
And
see
no
the
rebound.
Just see the odds. $1.60 Hawthorn.
It's extraordinary, isn't
$2.30
Yeah.
Port Adelaide at home.
Yep.
That's good value.
What they're going to need, though, is a lot more from their leaders. And Connor Rosie has not had a good season of footy. I feel it'll be one of those seasons where it's completed and then the club filters out that he has been carrying something of significance. That's my take on it. I don't know that because he's denying that, but he hasn't been having impact. And
Butters?
equally, Butters was subbed out, as we know, at half-time with a rib injury, which was later cleared totally of any damage, and he is right to play on Friday night.
Well, the criticism of that group, Purple, for a long time has been they are very one-way.
Yep.
So they're unbelievably offensive. They're mids. But when it comes to actually defending that part of the ground, they're constantly criticised as being not able to do that. And they bristle at that, I know. But if you watch the replay of that game, you can't argue.
No.
They did not defend the middle of the
they
ground
didn't.
at all.
No, and they were already set back by Dan Houston not being in that part of the
And Farrell.
ground, and Farrell equally, Bill, I reckon.
Look at
So-
this stat. 11 times since 2000, the year 2000, a qualifying team has lost by 50 or more points.
11 times, yeah.
11 times.
Yep.
11 times they have won the semi-final.
Well,
There you go.
Yep.
Is that right, Joey? Good boy.
I wouldn't question Joey.
No,
No,
I
I've
just
never
did.
had reason
I
to
just
question
did.
Joey.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
So Port's now the 12th.
If they go on and
Well,
win.
they got to win it. Yeah.
I know.
And then we did touch on the Carlton situation, but just from a big picture perspective. So Michael Voss now coach 2022, where they lost the last 4 games to just miss finals. Last year, 5 goals up in a prelim final, lost it, and then finished 2024 with a harrowing loss in an elimination final. He's got the contract beyond next year, but going into next year, there's going to need to be a sharpening up of outcome there, as there will need to be for Luke Beveridge, who also goes into next year with a contract. But to have now lost his past 3 finals in the manner of which he has, there was a streak of goals that were kicked by Hawthorn on Friday night that was 6 goals to nothing in the second and third quarter period. The previous final they lost, they conceded or let go of a 42-point lead against Fremantle in 2022 in elimination final. And then the previous final, Jim, was the 2021 grand final where they conceded the 16 of the past 17 goals. So that's the last 3 finals that they've played, lost all of them, and have all lost them on the back of goals in a massively streak sense by opponents.
What do you make of their list? Because they've got some very, very good players. This is the Dogs, very, very good players. But there are some, you'd say, average players in that side too.
They were very average on Friday night, weren't they?
they
Yeah.
a lot of people say they got the best list. I don't know if they got the best list.
Well, I don't ever pay attention to champion data. I'd like to form my own opinions, but they were ranking them as the team to win the flag. And so their numbers were suggesting to the people who crunch the numbers that they were there this year. Now, they weren't, clearly, and they're out, and they're out again. So it's a problem. GWS, just on them, if Toby Bedford plays, you'd think that would have been enough to change that result. I mean, they lost by a kick.
They
so-
should have won anyway.
And they still should have arguably won. Yeah. So they'll get him back, and you'd expect them to stay alive.
Yeah,
into
I still
the
like
third
the
week at
Giants.
least. Do you?
I do, yeah.
Back to
Yeah,
the grand final.
I'm with you.
I'd like
Yep.
them. Now, Purple, are we...
Yeah.
I don't care if it's Jameis Winston. I don't care if it's Bernie Kosar.
Oh, what's he talking
We've got to
Baker
find a
Mayfield.
quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. I've had enough.
You're off to
Deshaun
Sean?
Watson, guaranteed 15 mil a year. He couldn't hit you, standing 15 metres away. We're joke ridden. I've had enough.
We went to the Dog Pound.
We did.
When was that?
Saw
about
the worst
10 years
game
ago,
of
12 years ago?
football ever played in the professional
6-3.
era. 2 field goals to 1. In the middle of Cleveland, the mistake by the lake.
Exactly. Still follow him. I can't believe you still follow him.
You got to stay. Well, you can't leave your club, no matter who it is.
Well, they're shit.
They are. That's sadly true.
Jack Payne.
Yes. Cleared of serious damage to the MCL, but was subbed out of the
Yes,
game
I
with
saw
it.
that, yeah.
It's again, if they're going to roll the dice on a player who's a little bit sore, which he will be regardless, and they've got Darragh Joyce in the wings, but a problem because they just cannot get football into Jack Payne.
No.
All right, Purple,
The
well
Lions,
done.
that is.
Love it.
See
Look
you at
forward
the
to your
Rumble.
company shortly.
And hear him on Wednesday as part of the midweek rub as well.
Oh, I love that. Love listening to Damo.